Namaskar. We are examining the essential traits to be observed by the sadhaka or yogi in order to attain that high state of samadhi. And these traits are four. And these traits are prescribed for upaya pratyaya yogis. As we have already learned, that Patanjali dismisses the first kind of yogis who are fake. They are not real. They may gain certain state of trance like samadhi, and they may mistake it for real samadhi. And they derive that kind of state by birth due to their samskaras in their previous lives. But such yogis, according to Patanjali, have not reached the sublime state of samadhi. They may display certain miracles, certain powers, but such powers that they display are dangerous. These yogis may gain some popularity by such powers, but in reality they have not attained that high state of samadhi. Therefore, Patanjali prescribes the yogic sadhana only by following strictly the disciplinary procedure prescribed by Patanjali. One can reach that high state of samadhi. And for such a yogi, Patanjali prescribes certain traits and these are essential, without which the yogi cannot make any progress in his sadhana. So, in order to attain the progressive states of consciousness in samadhi, the yogi must strictly follow and observe the four essential traits, and we have already examined three such traits. They are Shraddha, that is faith; Virya, that is a combination of confidence, energy, determination, willpower, and so on. The third is Smriti, but this Smriti should not be confused with a psychological memory, but it is a state which constantly directs the yogi, which makes the yogi not to repeat and commit mistakes. If the yogi has learned certain lesson from an experience, and he should exercise great vigilance or caution in order not to repeat the same experience. So it is in that sense Smriti is used. Smriti, which constantly monitors, directs, and guides the sadhaka or yogi in his highest pursuit of that highest state of samadhi. The fourth essential trait required for the yogi is Samadhi Prajna. Samadhi should be preceded by Samadhi Prajna. Now, the key word in this expression is Prajna. Prajna actually stands for wisdom, pure knowledge. You can gain that wisdom and pure knowledge only when you undergo that high state of samadhi. But that kind of meaning, that sublime meaning, that high state of meaning cannot be attributed here. It cannot be taken into account here in this particular context. Samadhi Prajna here refers to a turn, an inward turn, that is constantly looking into oneself, and this should be very strong, this inward looking, Despite the yogi's involvement in external activities, his mind should be constantly driven inside. He should inquire, keep on inquiring, keep on pursuing. And this is what is Samadhi Prajna. It's not the state of wisdom that should be accounted here. No doubt, the world in which the yogi is living is full of temptations, full of objects that tempt. But a sincere yogi must not get trapped in such temptations. He should not unnecessarily indulge in external activities, but constantly turn inward. Despite several disturbances, distractions that arise from the external world, and this requires tremendous willpower. And this strong pursuit of inward journey is essential requirement for a yogi. So Samadhi, to attain that highest state of Samadhi, the yogi must possess these four virtues, namely Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, and Samadhi Prajna. So these essential traits are explained in the sutra number 20 in the Samadhi Pada of Yoga Sutras. Along with these four essential traits, Patanjali also lays down two more virtues for a yogi in Sutra number 21 and 22 of the Samadhi Pada. And the Sutra number 21, Patanjali says, Tivra samveganam asanna. Tivra veganam, that is, the yogi must also have an ardent desire to reach that state of samadhi, to realize that state of samadhi. An earnestness, a very strong desire. And therefore, the yogi must be more concerned about his pursuit. And in this path, in this journey, the yogi may encounter several obstacles. To know and understand one's own obstacles and overcome them is easier than to understand millions of minds. If one wants to achieve his ambition of attaining a position and power and influence in the society, one has to deal with the millions of minds. And it is very difficult. But to deal with one's own mind is easier, because the yogi is concerned about only one mind, and that is his own mind. And he can understand the nature and functioning of that mind, how that mind creates illusions, delusions, and hallucinations, and how the yogi can overcome those illusions, delusions, and hallucinations. He can easily overcome his own samskaras and vasanas. He can exercise great control over his karmic impulses, provided if he has earnestness, if he has an ardent desire to realize the ultimate objective of yoga, that is samadhi. And if the yogi is possessed by such a virtue, an ardent desire to realize that highest state of samadhi, for such a yogi, nothing stands in his way. Within a short time, he can attain that goal. he can realize that state of mind. He can undergo that state of onenessness. He can experience that state of pure consciousness. Once the yogi possesses such a strong desire, so having an ardent desire is another prime requirement for a yogi. And such a yogi can move from one plane of consciousness to another plane of consciousness in samadhi and reach the great mysteries of that state, undergo the experience of that state, and he can as well bring down that state of knowledge and wisdom to the physical plane. And in a very intelligent way, such a yogi can guide humanity. And in such a yogi, we will not see any kind of deceptivity. Such a yogi will not seek any popularity, any fame or recognition. Such a yogi will not fall prey to all temptations. Such a yogi will not be affected by any external activities or actions or objects and things. No thing can attract, tempt such a yogi, because such a yogi is constantly stabilized in that state of samadhi, which is devoid of dualities. He is one with the entire cosmos. He is the cosmos, and the cosmos becomes one with such a yogi. And there is no faltering, there is no fall. Such a yogi will not stumble and tumble. Such a yogi will be steady, constant, in that state of pure consciousness. So, the yogi must possess these traits, these qualities, these virtues. Apart from the four virtues that Patanjali lays down in Sutra number 20, he also adds one more trait, that is having an ardent desire for attaining that highest state of samadhi, which is non-dual, which is advaitic in character, which stands for oneness and nothing else. Namaskar.